We finally have official images of 2026 LEGO Star Wars sets, and it's certainly a mixed bag. Let's talk about it. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with a breaking LEGO news video. Happy December 1st, everyone. 2025 is almost over, which is crazy, and that means we're really gonna get into the heart of 2026 LEGO reveals. The Playscale sets have been leaked for a while. I'm not gonna share any of those images here because I don't want my video to get taken down, but we don't actually have official pictures of those sets. Whenever those come out, I'll make a separate video. But we do have images for 3 sets that are not minifigure or play scale. I'm gonna go through these sets in the price order, starting off here with the cheapest, and that is the $65 set number 75440 AT-AT with 525 pieces. Now this is an 18 plus display model, and it's a MIDI scale AT-AT. Obviously this is not part of the Starship collection because AT-ATs are not starships, so it's kind of a new thing LEGO is doing here. We were all kind of confused when this set was rumored. We didn't really know exactly what to expect, but I guess LEGO is going to start doing MIDI scale vehicles that are not exclusively starships, and I'm all in favor of that. I'm a big fan of these MIDI scale vehicles. I think it gives collectors a nice way to get an iconic vehicle from the Star Wars universe without having to absolutely blow up their wallet. And I gotta say, the more I look at this set, the more I like it, but I'm also not entirely sure that I want to buy it. Let me explain. Let's go over the positives here first. The build looks nice. The proportions for the AT-AT, I think, are really solid. I can't complain about them too much. The design techniques for this scale look good. The gappage is there, but it's minimal. I think for the most part, LEGO did a really good job at shaping this up. The head might be a smidge too large, and the neck seems like it might be a little bit too short. I will have to see how it looks in person to really give a final judgment on that, but I think it looks solid overall, and I'm hoping that the joint pieces here are not stickers and they're prints. However, just based on the box art here, it does kind of look like they're stickers, which would be unfortunate. Otherwise though, the leg details look nice. I love the creative part choices for some of the little greebled mechanical details on the legs as well. And you also have a very cool looking miniature snow speeder flying around the legs of the AT-AT, and the way LEGO was able to kind of mimic it taking the AT-AT down was really cool. The stand is interesting. It's all black, just like the Starship collection. It has the printed plaque as well. I do think it might have been cooler to have a snowy-esque stand for Hoth, obviously, but I understand this. It definitely has continuity with the other MIDI scale sets. So overall, I think this build looks very solid. Now you're probably wondering, why am I not super enthusiastic about buying this? Well, first off, $65 for a MIDI scale set with only 525 pieces is just not a particularly good deal. I think this should have been $50 at the most, so that's the first reason. But the more important reason, I'd argue, is that I just don't really see a need for this set in particular in my collection. I have the Playscale AT-AT from 2020. I have the most recent version of the Snowspeeder from 2019 on display in pretty much this exact same position we see for the display of this set, and I'm not sure why in particular I need to add a smaller rendition of the AT-AT to my current LEGO Star Wars collection. And obviously if you own anything like the UCS Snowspeeder or the UCS AT-AT, I think that's going to be a prevailing issue for everybody who just has a lot of LEGO Star Wars sets. I don't really see the need to have a MIDI scale AT-AT, which is probably why I'll end up waiting on a sale for this set, at least 20% off, if not 30 or more. So this set is not going to be a day one cop in any way, shape, or form for me. However, if you don't have a Snowspeeder or don't have an AT-AT in your LEGO Star Wars collection, or if you're just looking for a really solid desk display model that's not going to take up a ton of room from LEGO Star Wars, it's also not super expensive, albeit a bit overpriced, this set is going to be great for you. I understand the value of this set. For me personally, it's not something that I'm like crazy or getting giddy about, but I do think it is well constructed. Let's move on and talk about the other MIDI scale set. This is set number 75441 Venator Class Attack Cruiser. This set will retail for $79.99, so $80 US, and it contains 643 pieces. Before I talk about the build, again, the price is just not particularly good. I would have loved to have seen 60 to 65 bucks for this. 70 in 2026 I think think would have been acceptable. 80 is definitely too much. There's not $80 worth of plastic included here. That being said, I think this is pretty much a perfect set. I have very little ill to speak about this design. The shaping is absolutely spectacular. It's smooth in the right areas. It appears to have lots of printed elements, which is cool too. Also, is that a new triangle shaped tile piece there, kind of at the back of the wing with the red stripes printed? That appears to be a new piece. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks really cool. But like I said, all the shaping is fantastic. The proportions are great for this MIDI scale. And unlike the AT-AT, there haven't been that many versions of the Venator in LEGO form. Really only two of note. There's obviously the 2009 Playscale Venator, which I have hated on that set in the past. I don't think that set looks particularly good in display or has aged well, and now it's very expensive from third-party sellers, so that one is just not an obtainable set for most collectors. And then obviously a couple of years ago in 2023, we got the UCS Venator. I have that set. I love that thing. It's an absolutely beautiful model to behold. I have it proudly on display, but obviously that set was $650. Most people cannot afford that. So now we're going to be able to get this vehicle in a much more affordable format, and it's going to go really well with the 2024 Invisible Hand set. We can kind of recreate that opening sequence from Revenge of the Sith, which is absolutely fabulous if you ask me. This thing is gorgeous. This is an absolutely fantastic design. LEGO killed it with this one, and I'm fully anticipating this set winding up in my top 10 LEGO Star Wars sets of 2026 video in the somewhat distant future. That being said, again, I don't really know if I'm going to buy this set day one because I'm not really in a rush to get another Venator, and I do think it is about $15 to $20 overpriced. But once this goes on a 20% clearance at some point, probably next spring or summer, I will buy it immediately. Now there's one more brand new LEGO Star Wars set to talk about, and I'm not super enthusiastic about this one. In fact, I think this set is not particularly good. It is set number 75452 BB-8 with 569 pieces, and get this, the retail price is $89.99. $90 for less than 600 pieces, and this is not minifigure scale. You get one single figure, BB-8, who has come in like a dozen sets in the past. Not exactly a hard character to find. And look, I get it, there are lots of seemingly printed elements in this set. It's not gonna be exactly 10 cents per piece at this current LEGO climate, but this set is like $30 to $35 more than it should be. The price here is abhorrent. There is no excuse for the value of this set. As for the concept of this set, I'm not really against them remaking a brick-built BB-8. It has been what will be 9 years in 2026 since the version from 2017 came out. So yeah, it's a good character, a beloved character, even if I don't love the sequel trilogy. People do love BB-8. It makes sense to have a brick-built BB-8 on the market. However, I think this looks worse than the previous version. They did kind of smooth some things out, but then made it worse at the same time. The spherical shape here just isn't quite coming together for me. I don't really know how to describe it. It just looks very rigid and awkward. I do love the printed dish pieces. Those look quite nice. The head looks fine, but none of it is blowing me away. It's not a great looking design. It appears he's gonna have some functions, which is cool. I'm glad they're going to have some good play value here. But once again, I just don't think this build looks great in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, when it first leaked a couple of days ago, I was like ready to put this on my top 10 worst sets of 2026 video way in advance. After seeing the official reveals, it's not the ugliest design I've ever seen in my life, and I do think it'll probably be to scale with the 2024 R2-D2 and C-3PO sets, which is cool. That's a cool display to have, especially if you're a fan of the sequel trilogy, but it's just not a great looking model, and he appears to be pretty small for a set with 569 pieces and $90. It's really the price of this set. If this set were $55-$60, I would be okay with it, but the price here is just inexcusable, man, which is why I don't really see myself purchasing buying this set. The only way I do end up buying it is if they put this set on a big sale. I kind of said the same thing about Grogu and the Hover Pram set. I had no plans to buy that set. But then a couple of weeks ago, Amazon listed it for $50 US, which was 50% off, and well, I folded and bought it. So if this set goes on a 50% sale and is at $45 at some point, I probably won't be able to resist and I'll end up copying this. But anything more than that, I just don't think it's worth it. And I'm pretty content with my 2017 BB-8 brick-built figure. So yeah, I definitely think this brick-built BB-8 is the worst of these three sets. The mini scale stuff I think looks pretty nice. The Venator is clearly the big winner of this wave thus far. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these sets in the comment section down below. And thank you all so much for tuning into today's breaking LEGO news video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.